gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
Welcome, everybody. We're back with Spin Rack. We got the two guys here for the crew. We got Cal, we got Petey. And today, we're going to talk about a serious subject. Man-ape, or what are they calling him now? M'baku.
Oh, you totally jacked that up. Here, let me help you out, okay? Baku, okay, is the name of the character who also is known as the Man-ape, who is one of the Black Panther's primary villains. There you go.
Thank you.
More power to you. The question is whether or not Marvel should drop the Man-ape name and use just M'baku.
Well, they've already dropped the name. So they've already dropped Man-ape, right?
Right, but the question is it a big deal or not? You know what I'm trying to say?
There's a whole bunch of, I can't say the acronym, but there are a whole bunch of people who are socially aware and they want justice and they feel that they need to be warriors about it.
Those warriors.
Yeah.
They're fighting for some sort of justice.
Yeah, they
maybe in a social setting.
Yeah, they're trying to hold off from all of that type of stuff. No, in all seriousness, what are these guys doing? It's the same reason why we didn't see Chinese Mandarin. They're trying to troubleshoot. Hey, where is it that we could get into trouble? We don't want people in the streets protesting our films, and we could go out from over here. But to be quite honest, I just don't find anything offensive about the name Man-ape. It wasn't offensive for all these years, and to be quite honest, you can call one guy after a panther. You can't call the other guy after the other animal. And this is Wakanda. Okay, these are not. One of the things they don't seem to take into account is that they seem to think the experience of people in the United States is the experience of people everywhere, and it's not. Wakanda's experience would be to the point that if someone threw an insult at them, they would probably look at them like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, and would go on with their day. Mm-hmm. And then we'd have to literally drag that person down and say, well, no, you have to feel this way because that's the history and the culture over here. And he's like, no, I don't have to feel that way whatsoever. So I don't understand. I really don't understand, especially since they still worship the whole ape clan. They still have the ape clan.
I think this is the great point because we talked this over a little bit, and I was supposed to take the lead. But thankfully, Cal has set up the whole argument perfectly. Everything has been set up just the way I wanted it to be.
Okay,
thank you.
So big business over here is a big softy. Okay, if you say something to him, he's gonna get angry. Okay, he's gonna go home. He's gonna come back with metal and try to do something.
Look, so listen. I can see Marvel's take on this. They definitely don't want to offend anyone, and they definitely don't want to cause any problems. And
just like in Doctor Strange,
That's a whole other issue there. But let's deal with this.
Same issue.
They waved the flag.
It's not this issue.
They waved the flag.
So
they're like, hey,
because with that issue, they combined it with something else. So look, what I'm saying here though is that the fact. Let's get to the street. A lot of African Americans do not want to be called apes or monkeys and associated with them.
Who does? Who does want to be called an ape?
Exactly. And unfortunately, there's a continual. In sporting events, particularly, where they continually call people of African descent monkeys and apes, and they throw.
So if you don't call them that, okay, and you throw something else, and so you just say you call the dude, say you call him something else, like an ass or something of that nature, or or jackass or something of that nature, and you start throwing that. That's okay. Okay, that's okay. It's acceptable to insult me in this way. But this way, no.
No, right, I totally disagree. That doesn't make any sense.
You got to have a thicker skin than that.
No, I totally disagree. Because you know why? In continually, do they call all the white players, oh, you a monkey, you're an ass? No.
No, because they're trying to get a rise out of this guy, and it's working.
They specifically reserve that just for the African Americans. the Africans and blacks. And that's one of the reasons they find it very offensive. You've had a game, I was just watching a game last year where they had a game, it was in Italy, where the guys were constantly insulting the guy, calling him all kinds of stuff. There's a whole 9 other
Is he a good player?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Then they're trying to throw him off his game, he's got to be tougher than that.
And the same thing happened in Boston, a baseball game where you can't continue to condone this behavior. If
you want to shut that down, okay, if you want to shut that down, you want to shut that down for the right reasons, no problem. Other than that, look, if these people are trying to get you off your game and that's going to work, That's what they're going to keep doing.
They continually do
All
it.
right.
And when they shut it down, look. Hold on, I just want to make this one last point. What I'm saying, the point.
You're being a big softy right now.
No, I disagree.
You're being a big
Because
softy
you have
right
players
now.
who go to Boston and continually do that again and again. Look, I
But
don't
we're
have a
not
problem.
trying to fight. We can't fight idiots every time.
But
we
you
can't
can't
use this
but you
to
can
fight idiots.
But you
That's
can
what
say,
no,
you can
no,
say,
no,
Good
we
point,
can't.
Petey.
But you
We
can
can't.
say, I disagree. You can say this is unacceptable.
No.
We can't continually do that. And you know
No,
what?
you can say
There
that.
are sanctions when this happens. Like in Boston,
You surprised me, man.
Close that team down, baby.
No,
For
you
a whole-
surprised
let
me.
them
I didn't
lose all
really.
game.
No, I see you. You know, you see you like go around the block. What's that? Yeah, Mr. Softy. You know, I forgot. You really do surprise me.
I know. I would go here. Let's make it even simpler.
Okay.
Look at the character, right?
Yes.
We have the character. He's in this ape costume, and you're saying this is offensive. Don't use the character.
Yep.
Just take the character out. You want to use M'Baku? Just use the name. Don't even put him in the gorilla outfit. Don't have him worship ape gods or anything like that. Cut it all out. Don't say, no, we're not doing this, but we're kind of, because he has the gorilla fur.
You have to, because it's the Black Panther and he's one of the major every major Black Panther villain is in this film. Claw, Man-Ape, Eric Killmonger. Those are the big ones, okay? They're all in this film. So it wasn't like they just said, hey, we're going to just use this one for this film. No, everybody's there right now. That's number one. And then number two, you can't have it both ways. T'Challa is the Black Panther. Why did they choose him? They chose Black Panther because why? It's a majestic looking animal. It's powerful. Okay, people are attracted to it, fine. Then they decided we want a villain. Oh, what do villains would need to be? Villains also need to be powerful, but scary, things that people, and then of course we have this particular setting. So what's a, oh yeah, you know, gorillas, they're really powerful and definitely people will be scared of them. We don't necessarily consider them majestic. So that's who the villain is gonna be right over here. Now, we have to like marry ourselves to every, you know, we have to marry ourselves to every epithet, okay, that has been said, and we can't get any distance from it. No, people, you gotta grow up. You gotta leave it
so
alone.
far with it. I totally disagree. And first of all, the Black Panther,
Black Panther and bringing that nonsense about the baseball games into this, that has nothing to do with this. Nothing whatsoever.
Sense, it does. So
no,
look,
it doesn't. That's you being a softie.
Like I was saying before, look. The problem is not everyone has read the Black Panther comic books, right? So most people will not know who the villains are, they know Black Panther if they know anyone at all, but they're not going to know all the villains like you guys who read all the comics.
You think
it doesn't matter.
So they should smooth it out for them, then, right?
I'm saying.
Then I would say take this character out,
yeah,
and then don't use it. Don't wave a
I
flag.
didn't realize you were a fan of censorship. That's another way of saying smoothing it out, right? Censorship.
No, all I'm just saying.
So America,
all I'm saying
what
is
big business is telling you to do is to go to the baseball game, shut up, don't say anything, okay? Don't boo, don't hiss, don't come over here and make anybody feel bad. Just shut up, watch the game, and if your team wins, just nod in appreciation. If your team lose, single tear down the side of your face, and you go home. No, you gotta grow up, people.
He's off his rockers. That's not what I said at all.
Look, the only reason why people, okay, have such reaction to that is because they have been educated that they need to have this reaction. You don't have to have that reaction to it. It's something. There's a totally different thing. Okay, when you can't get into the baseball stadium because people are waiting to bar you from it, or people are waiting after the game to harm you if you do well, or you're receiving death threats, that's something totally different. But I played ball. People can say whatever the hell they want to you on that field. Nobody can protect you from it. And if you're good, and I was good, they will keep coming at you. And you know what I used to do? You block it out, you clear the mechanism, you smash every ball that comes over the plate, and you go on with your day. And eventually, they respect you for that.
I totally disagree. You know
because
why?
You're soft.
Because you know you create a safe zone for those type of things. And I think
you create a what?
A safe zone for those type of things.
There's no safe zone. It's called life.
I let you talk. Can I say a word?
There's no safe zone. We
have
the youth of America out here, and you're telling them about safe zones.
Can I talk? Or are you going to interrupt?
When did you become a soft-hearted liberal?
Can I talk?
You're a liberal now.
So like I was saying,
tree-hugging liberal.
Well, just let him finish. He wants to finish about the baseball.
The point, baseball or not, what I'm trying to say is that if you're having people saying that in the stands to the players, then how does a person who comes there to watch the game, you know, whether this is their team or not, how do they feel? You know what I'm trying to say? This is what I'm trying to say. You're creating a space where people become very uncomfortable just because, hey, I'm saying there's tons of negative things you can say about players. You can insult them or whatever. But when you start trying to make it racial, then it's a problem. You know what I'm trying to say?
All right, so
that's my biggest problem.
Okay. First baseball game I ever went to, Daryl Strawberry was playing, and these guys are over like, hey, Daryl, Why don't you SMD, Daryl? Why don't you So I guess they should have never said that either,
Hey,
right?
they can do that. Why not?
They can do that?
All right,
But I'm saying when you make it racial,
that's where
Hypocrite.
I'm saying
I'm not a
if
hypocrite.
you have a problem with him being called Manny, right?
I never said that. All I'm just
Then
saying.
what's your
I
argument?
said I
So what's your argument?
I understand why Marvel is doing it. I don't
All right,
see a negative with that.
then you're okay.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're not
I don't
okay,
have. I'm not. I don't have a problem with it at all. With
all
Marvel
right,
doing it.
spin
Then
it
you were
back
just-
out. He agrees.
What was
but
that
he-
all about?
No, I have no problems with Marvel calling him, what is him, M'Baka, or whatever you call him.
M'Baku.
M'Baku, whatever you call him. I don't have a problem with that. I think
Surprised.
Marvel,
You see, your
You
pronunciation
have
should
a
be
problem
better.
with him being called Manny.
I'm saying I can see
Well,
why
you have no
Marvel
problem.
Marvel probably did the survey, the polls, and realized, hey, you know what? Probably
They didn't do any polls. They decided I don't
and
want
you have
to
a problem. So you have a problem with T'Challa being called the Black Panther?
No, I got no problem with that.
No, shouldn't they just take the black out of it and just call him Panther?
They did it in the 70s, the Black Leopard.
Yep.
They said it was offensive because
Black
they
Leopard?
didn't want it to
Yep.
be connected to the Black Panthers.
And then they
saying
gave him a
they're
window. They
terror-
gave him a window on his mask because they go, oh no, we don't want people to think we're ashamed of him. We want to know this
There we
character's
go.
black, and it looked stupid. And they went back to the original
Yeah.
outfit.
So there's things that's set up to say we're going to fix this problem, which was not a
problem.
problem, right? Because they were like they didn't want the Black Panther to be in black. They had the Black Panther not want to be connected to the terrorist organization, the Black Panthers. So he became the Black Leopard because the Panther is sort of a leopard.
Isn't it a leopard?
It's come on, you can't fight every side of the argument. If you're not okay with Manny, then you got to be upset with him. You know,
Looking
being-
like a man. Looking
No,
like an ape.
him worshiping
Worshiping
gorilla
apes.
gods. You okay with that? But you're not. It doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm not. I think you guys are missing my term. I said I understand Marvel's point.
I think you're just spoiling for a fight.
They're,
That's what I think.
they're looking to make as much money as
Let's
possible.
go to-
and they're
let's
trying
go.
to pretend. They're trying
No,
to
they did it
reduce.
before with, as he already said, Mandarin, and
Mandarin-
then Doctor Strange. They
Doctor
got caught
Strange was
out
totally
there.
different.
And
That-
then
that
when,
was the wrong
then
one.
when Iron Fist came, they jumped on that because they were so mad. They finally realized, hey, we didn't get any Asian characters. Oh, they only got these smaller characters. Iron Fist needs to be Asian, and they didn't get what they wanted, and they screwed everything up.
That wasn't Marvel. That was a Twitter following out there.
No,
This is what they're trying to head off. They're trying to head off
Yes.
that stream, that virulent stream of people who live to complain about nonsense.
You don't think there's going to be there's going Black Twitter is going to go crazy and say why you call him Manny? You don't think so?
Black Twitter?
I'm just saying. You don't think they're going to say anything?
I
about
find
it?
that offensive.
I'm asking. Do you not think that there's?
that was very good. That was. So let's go to another thing. We don't have the picture up. We've done this enough.
Yeah, we have.
What about the
He's wrong.
What about the casting of the Black Panther? The last thing I want to say is there too many known actors in this? I think having Forrest Whitaker
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because to be quite honest, I think the majority of the world has no idea who these people are.
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay, they may be known. To be honest, they may be known if you've seen 42 or James Brown. But again, Chadwick Boseman, most of the characters that I've seen him play in films have either been, what is this, biopics on Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and then he was also in Gods of Egypt. He played Thoth. But a lot of these other characters, the actors, to be honest, are lesser known. If you didn't see Creed, and then I think we had this discussion about Creed that I don't know if it was you. Somebody else was watching the trailer. Okay, and when they saw it, they dismissed the whole movie because they were like, "Oh, okay, what's this? Oh, this looks like Black Rocky." Okay, and this is a film since it's a black lead. It's a film for black people. They don't necessarily want me to come to see the film, so I'm just going to pass on it. Then the guy saw the trailer again, and he saw Sylvester Stallone in it. He's like, "Oh, Black Rocky! Yeah, I want to go see it now." Okay, and that's where I think a lot of these. That's where a lot of the actors in. Yeah, they're known, but they're known to that smaller circle. That smaller circle.
All right, that's
The
a
majority
good
of people this is going to be their first exposure. Unless you're watching Walking Dead, you may not have been familiar with one of the Dora Milaje who's been there. If you didn't see Creed,
Well, I would.
Lupita Nyong'o,
Michael
she's
B.
there.
Jordan, you're not familiar with. Chadwick Boseman, he's probably got the most light because he's had the other two films, but also because he was Black Panther in the Avengers movie. So people may have some familiarity with him. But it's the same thing. It's like unless you're familiar with if you never saw Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, okay, or if you saw Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. A majority, most of the time when it's a film like that, it's like every well-known Asian actor gets thrown in there.
Okay.
Okay. So that's your exposure to a lot of these guys. Well, somebody else may say, "Oh yeah, I know her. Gong Li, I know her. Never saw her before. Never heard of her before." So that's where people might be getting. That's what people might be getting in the Black Panther. A whole bunch of actors and actresses who are well known if you've encountered them before, but to the majority of the public, probably not.
Well, I'll pull back my argument then because I'm looking at, you know, I don't know. Regretfully, I've gone a blank, but you know, seeing Forrest Whitaker and seeing Michael B. Jordan.
I didn't like his casting.
So like seeing these guys that I know, and I know most of the other actors, I'm like saying maybe throw in some unknowns in there for these parts. But you know, I can get it. I can understand that. You know, I'm like saying, and then of course I'm being selective because Lupita, I'm not, you know, the girls, I'm like, yeah, no, I know them and they should stay in the in the movie. And I like, obviously, that, you know, so, but yeah, I can understand that. Not everyone, I know all of them. The regular audience might not know them. They might be just meeting them in this movie. So I'll pull back the argument.
So let's say what it is. The reality is with African American movies, especially when you have a large African American cast, there's a limited box office compared to some of the other movies. Am I right? You know what I'm trying to say?
There isn't a limited audience. There's limited marketing.
There's limited box office.
No.
What about Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures? Well,
Figures.
that's if you look at the amount of all the movies, that's more on the upper end of the scale. But that's not generally what happens.
Look, if you want to go that argument, any ethnic movie is going to be along those same lines. Okay.
So
they don't get the money.
So
but that's going to be any smaller film.
So
I don't want to make it a black thing.
Right. So you're right. With any ethnic film, but this one with marketing behind, with Marvel, the money, the quality of the production, the quality of the acting, we're hoping that it will go much further. You know?
Are you kidding? It's a Marvel film.
Well, we'll see.
We're hoping it's just they don't.
This isn't a black film.
Yeah.
This is a Marvel film. This right over here is something that I had been waiting for a long time. I had this discussion with someone, we were talking about the Lord of the Rings, and I said I would love to see the Lord of the Rings, but I would love to see them use some African myths or something of that nature and tell the story. And he was like, oh, really? He's like, but haven't they done that before? And I was like, no, they don't do that type of stuff. And it's like, I don't want to see somebody black in a Lord of the Rings film. I don't necessarily need that at all.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of stuff in terms of, literally you have Native American stories, African stories, where you could go and you could mine a lot of the mythology and go over that. I think the only film that I ever saw that really did a good job of that was Shaka Zulu. It was Five Nights.
Yeah.
And they did the raiment, they had the language, it really immersed yourself in that particular world, and it did so without any fear, any apprehension of showing everything that was there. Black Panther is actually going to straddle the line between those two things because this is going to be Wakanda. It's going to be totally, it's not even a real country in Africa. So it's going to be imagined cultures. It's going to be emerging in an immersion of cultures. You see a little bit of Ashanti. You'll see some of Zulu there. You'll see some of this, some of that, and all of that to make this Wakandan culture. So nobody can get angry at how it's displayed, or you can't get angry. Oh, we don't worship gorillas in Africa. It's fictional, okay?
Yeah.
We don't worship, Panther. It's fictional, so you can do that. But at the same time, I can't remember the last time that you had something that's going to have this much star power and this much money behind it, and you have it casted for the majority is black. This is something that I'm looking forward to seeing, and this will be the same argument that people make about the female films, where we don't do them because they don't sell or something of that nature. Yeah. So we'll see this one, and this one will definitely sell. It's going to do well. But then it's one comes after that I'm always looking forward to see. Do you see more of them? And do you see more interplay, or does it have to stay in the same box? Because one of the reasons why we only get to see it for so long is because it stays in this particular box. I think it was Fred Williamson, big black exploitation star, and he was the guy. He got out at a certain point. He says, "You got to be kidding me." He's like, "We can only do these films for so long." He's like, before people are like, "Hey, I'm kind of pissed off at you killing me." He's like, "Okay, I can only make so much money. I've got to get out of it at this point," because he was in that particular box. If we come over and just say, hey, look, no, we can show a myriad of different people, different aspects, different mythologies, and go with it, then we can have some really good stuff. In the same way that you have a film like The Great Wall, where you have that, the West. It's the same story. It's the white savior story. Even though but if it's done well, I have to admit, I enjoy it. You can do that with a myriad of different looks and a myriad of different people, and then you can really broaden your base and expand. If not, then every once in a while we'll have like have an all black cast or an all Asian cast or an all Latino cast, and everybody will love it, and then it'll go back to status quo. So always what comes after is what I'm looking forward to see.
Yeah, so that's also what it's That's a definite strong point, and I would love that they would just start to say, pick out the myths and just play them up. I think, what was it, in the comic books, what's his name, Mike Mignola used one of the Makoma myth in his story. Like, he's experiencing what Makoma experienced, and then at the end you see him, and it's like, man, that would be a good movie. So, or just having him as a present-day character like Marvel's Thor.
Yeah, and there's plenty of them. For the most part, what do we get to see? We get to see mostly it's Western European, maybe some Roman stuff, Greek, mythology without a doubt. And that's pretty much it. We don't get to see like a lot of there's a bunch of Celtic myth, like Cuchulainn and stuff of that nature that we just don't get to see. That's bigger, and these stories have been around and they can be very interesting, very well told, but again, it's Hollywood. These guys, and I don't fault them rather. You want to make your money back. So these guys are like, what, Cuchulainn? What does he do? Blood? No. Get another Hercules movie out there. Get another Hercules. Along those type of lines. So, what you got to say, big business? Huh? What do you have to say, big business?
What did we do to them? We broke big business.
No, you didn't break business.
We broke them.
Yeah.
We broke them.
Yeah, we just found out today big business is
You're not going to rewind and go back to the same point of baseball, are you?
No, I'm not going back to this.
Sore ass.
I'm just stunned by the conversation. That's it. Look, I kind of see what you're saying. It would be great if we could have something where they'll go other myths. But the problem is that this is a tried formula. Thor, Western European. Not even Western European. We're talking about British because you have the Arthurian legends that they.
Thor is actually more expansive, to be quite honest. Because
we also have the Greek and Romans, and that's basically it. But you have Eastern Europeans, Russian, like you said, the Celtic mythology that they have not mind, and they could do if they really wanted to. And that's where you have the.
Well, Hollywood could have done their own Thor before Marvel's Thor,
right?
But they didn't. That aspect of doing Hercules again is way they're like, well, there's a whole. Lineage to Hercules. We can do another Hercules. Another
they've been doing Hercules for 5,000 years. He's pretty safe.
And Hercules movies were pretty good. You had the Sinbad movies. Remember in the
Sinbad?
50s?
Yeah.
You had the Hercules. You even had the Mummy. The horror guys back then. So I mean, they could do it. It's just they just don't see the point in it. So in the end run, Man-Ape. These two want the name back. I couldn't get
I'm saying don't wave. All I'm saying is don't wave the flag. If you don't want to use the name, just like all the stuff with like the X-Men, like Xavier not calling them, saying the children are calling themselves X-Men. Like just cut out the name.
I have more of the problem with Man-Ape as a name just not being that great of a villain name.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's just not that. To be honest, it sounds better than
man. Yeah. You can't call him Ape Man.
Man-Ape. Man up, Man-Ape. Man up.
Man-Ape not good. Man-Bat good.
Spin Rack out!